Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 882. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Warren's back in Vancouver. I forget how much, because you were in Toronto last week, and the week before.
Last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And survived.
Yes, I survived Toronto.
Amazingly
Hell
enough.
pit of danger that is Toronto.
We're all from Alberta. We're told, we're raised to hate Eastern Canada. Although
Here
Toronto's
be
kind of in the middle. But
I was too, but I don't care anymore because I'm a mature adult now. Well, that's not true, but I am an adult.
I mean, you
Is
could be tried
Toronto
as
in the
one.
middle? Is
Toronto's
Toronto
kind of
in the middle?
I mean,
I know they call themselves Central Canada, but you look at like where the exact geographic center of
Isn't
Canada
Winnipeg
is.
or
Winnipeg
more or less?
is more like longitudinally, east west, yeah, because Baker Lake, there's a small settlement called Baker Lake up in Nunavut. No, it might be Northwest Territories, which is the exact or close to the geographical center of Canada. And directly south of that, like a few thousand kilometers, is Winnipeg. So when Toronto, this is three Westerners complain about Toronto podcast, calls themselves Central Canada, it means because they think they're the center of Canada. But
You know, the thing is, I
center of the
interact with
universe.
Torontonians every day, and none of them act like that. Like, rarely does that happen.
no, I know.
So, yeah,
we inflate the enemy a little bit here out in the West.
Just looking up, and there's a sign on the Trans-Canada Highway slightly east of Winnipeg proclaiming it the longitudinal center of Canada.
Look
There
at
you
that.
go.
And the nearest inhabited places for the latitudinal center of Canada are Baker Lake, Nunavut, and Arviat to the east.
There you go.
A friend of the show, Shannon Dohar, who loves the Rheostatics, wants to go to Winnipeg because that's where they're from. And I told her, you are in for a disappointment. You live in New York City. Winnipeg will be a big letdown, let me tell you.
Well, maybe she needs to become a Burton Cummings fan, too.
Who doesn't
Neil
need
Young,
to be a
Neil Young is from Winnipeg too originally. I want you to know.
I was born in Pinawa, Manitoba, an hour and a half from Winnipeg.
Were you really? Wow.
Don't remember any of it because we left when I was 3.
Oh, exciting.
Probably good reason, too.
Yeah.
My dad got a new job, so yeah, it was a good reason.
We were in Winnipeg this past summer. So there you go. That's the Winnipeg connection. That's our Canadian content fulfilled for
been.
this week. You know?
Yeah, right. Sure.
So there you go, CRTC. Send us your royalty check. That's not how it works. That is not how it works in this country at all. On this episode of the podcast, the Doctor Who Radio Free Skaro podcast, our feature event is the final part of Earthshock, our commentary, our classic series commentary on Earthshock, which seems decades in the making. We recorded it so long ago, and then we put it on pause for a couple weeks to talk about the Chris Chibnall era, and then we thought, well, then when news dies down, we'll put it on those episodes, and then Russell T Davies writes a page in Doctor Who magazine, and there's like more news in that one little page of magazine than there has been like the last 6 months of the Chibnall era, but we'll get to that. So they tweeted, Doctor Who tweeted out. They didn't toot. There was no toot on Mastodon. It was only on Twitter.
Worst. That's worse than tweeting.
Toot was eliminated as well a while ago.
Is it really?
No, it's still on. I use Metatext as my Mastodon client on my phone, and it says Toot right up top. So they haven't
still
updated
says
that.
Toots?
That's the third party issue then.
Yeah.
The only thing that should be called Toot is Toots and the Maytals. That's all.
What about Hercules?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yes, also Hercules. Fair enough.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. The Canadian Hercules, which apparently only us in Canada ever watched because no one else remembers it. Or is that Rocket Robin Hood? Might be both.
Both.
Is the Hercules
Both.
thing was it Canadian or was it like French?
I think it was Canadian, but Johnny
No,
Nash.
Hercules was Canadian. It was Canadian.
a young Johnny Nash sang the theme tune years before he set the world on fire with I Can See Clearly Now. So
I did not know that connection, that was the same guy.
Same cat, yeah. Right? Look at this. You won't get this on Andy. Listen, we've talked about Winnipeg, the geographical center of Canada. We've talked about Johnny Nash, Hercules, Rocket Robin Hood.
Mighty Hercules was co-produced with Translux Television, the same company that later brought the Japanese anime series Speed Racer.
My God.
To the U.S.
There you go.
Wow. Amazing. Anyway, Doctor Who tweeted, somehow we got to there. I have no idea. I don't remember I don't remember the last 2 minutes of my life right now. Filming has begun on Ncuti Gatwa's first series. Dylan Holmes Williams, of course, spat out from a poet / Doctor Who production staff writer name generator, is the director of the first block. So they're shooting right now. Obviously not in public because I haven't seen any crazy set report stuff flood my Twitter at all.
Come on, costume, come on.
I know, right? I was expecting a costume, but no costume yet.
Maybe that'll be our Christmas gift. Maybe RTD will gift us that.
I mean,
preempting any outside filming.
There was that one leak.
I haven't seen that leak, so don't tell me.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, wait, I have seen that leak.
There was a leak, but we won't divulge that because people like to, remain spoiler free and stuff. So there was a little shot of something, which is intriguing. But if you're curious about it, search Twitter for it. Search Mastodon for it. Use their search function or whatever app you use for it.
You can get scolded about using the wrong server. You can hear people angry about some damn thing or another, and then you can find the missing photo with a content warning on it, probably.
That's true. And apparently you can get scolded, Warren. I've discovered that if you call it a toot, and it's not a toot anymore. So
who cares?
Nope, not anymore.
Here's how much that matters. Oh yeah, it doesn't.
Not a toot
at all.
Yeah. It does not matter one toot.
Anyway, the first series is happening. As I think we found out a while ago, and we didn't mention it on the show until it was public, but eight episodes is the first series, and probably all the series of Doctor Who, including, though, this is all mentioned by Russell T Davies in including, thank you, plus a Christmas special. So next year, obviously, will be the 3 Tennant specials, and then a holiday special. Christmas special.
Festive season? Like that's already been announced.
Yeah. But on Christmas Day, but a festive season.
Well, according to Russell the Davis in Doctor Who magazine, when he says Christmas, that's his generic term for festive / end of year / holiday or New Year.
Christmas.
Doctor Who is for everybody, Stephen. Absolutely.
That's true. I know what you mean. Yeah, but it's gonna be Christmas.
Also, we're all atheists. What do we care if it's Christmas Day?
Well, I know that, but I mean, it's the event of disrupting Canadians' Christmas dinner by having to
That's true, yes.
watch an episode and then cram
annoy my parents for the 52nd. Well, when did I start watching? It's 40-somethingth time.
Yeah, but the great thing is that it's going to be on Disney Plus, and we won't have to finagle other ways to watch an episode on Christmas Day before it gets chopped into bits on commercial
but
TV.
Stephen, you're going to watch it live. The minute it comes out, you're going to watch it.
It might be, yeah, it's true. Yeah, if Disney does drop it at 1 a.m., yeah, you're damn right I'm staying up to watch it. Because I did it for Andor, and I was annoyed by Andor, yet liking it at the same time,
That says more about you than it does about Andor or Doctor Who. There's no way I'm staying up till 1. Maybe for Doctor Who, never for Andor.
It would be
any
midnight
of the
for
Marvel
you.
stuff.
It would be midnight for you.
I don't care.
We are through episode 11 of Andor, and I still don't see the attraction.
A lot of people like it.
I know.
It's
a lot of
fine.
people do.
It's fine. There's parts that are cool, and there are parts that aren't. Basically,
it's probably the best Star Wars, and it's probably the most frustrating Star Wars series I've watched. And that's all I'll say, just in case
neither of those apply for me.
And yet you've watched 11 to 12 episodes.
I'm enjoying Andy Serkis.
He's quite good in it. Yeah. I like all the Mon Mothma intrigue, although that doesn't seem to be going anywhere, but I still like it. Here's the thing with Star Wars fans. You put out Andor, which is an adult Star Wars show. They get angry about it.
Right.
Okay. You put out Book of Boba Fett, which is basically a dumb kid show. They don't like that. Make up your damn minds, you grouches.
I was fine with the Book of Boba Fett. Steven didn't like it because half of it was Mandalorian.
It was ridiculous, yeah. It was just
newsflash, Star Wars is ridiculous.
a little bit.
Andor isn't all that ridiculous, which is why it's weird.
It's laser sword monks in space, man.
Andor.
Also, I fired up Droids because it was sitting there on Disney Plus, and I'm like, yeah, this ain't half bad for what it is. And Canadian. Nelvana, baby.
That's right. We're going to make who propositioned a Doctor Who animated spin-off in the early 90s. Anyway, Andor is found on Disney Plus, which is the home of Doctor Who back on Target. In Doctor Who magazine, so Russell T Davies in his little 12 Days of Christmas article sort of said 12 months awaiting, which means that we're like 12 months away, well, 11 months now. From new Doctor Who. So that is still in stone. And he even goes on like, we're building the empire a little bit. It'll take a while, but there are no more gap years, folks. And so even though he says only 8 episode seasons and with the 9th episode being a festive special, Christmas.
Okay.
This, of course, and this is something he hasn't mentioned, but of course it's been reported, is that there will be other series a-coming as part of the quote-unquote empire, as which RTD refers to. Not in the article here, but we talked about it last week. I know that we've sort of thought like it might be like different series. I know that Strangers in Space, J.R.L. Southal's podcast, has heard that it might be an anthology series with a one ep. I feel like that almost be like wasting like what? Don't blow all of it in one series. Like you're spread it out a little bit.
Keep the Luke and K9 series as a series.
Just Luke and K, just Tommy Knight, who's like left acting, I think, and K9 just chilling out with Mr. Smith in the attic and just going.
No Mr. Smith.
No, okay.
Nope.
Or the fanfare, just him and the dog, just walking around.
We need the fanfare. Come on.
Yeah.
No fanfare.
In a post-apocalyptic war zone, just
Chris,
a boy and his middle dog.
I don't make TV either, but you definitely shouldn't make TV. Like, based on that series pitch, if I can call it that.
Yeah. He even drops some hints. This is what I do miss about RTD is that he will throw stuff out there to tease and tantalize, where the previous era would not do any of that because they thought it might be a spoiler. Where he goes, the second special contains the words wild, Southampton, vegetable, here's the important one, flux, capitalized, bean, and starlight. So obviously flux is going to be mentioned at some point in
well, I hope it's mentioned by a wild Southampton vegetable that talks like a muppet vegetable,
like a cabbage on the shoulder of Ncuti Gatwa or David
I'm thinking
Tennant,
more of a carrot with squinty eyes, but you do you.
Yeah. Also
page 7 of special 1 contains the line, "Oh, Neris and her big mouth." So that's going to be a Donna line, presumably.
It's going to be a Donna line, yeah, because of course Neris was her rival, I guess, in
Nemesis,
Runaway Bride. Nemesis, there we go. That's what we're looking for. Yeah. He also talks about the diamond logo being it's there, it's awesome, and it's staying. So it's not just for it's more or less a coincidence that it's a diamond logo for the diamond anniversary. It's proper Doctor Who, baby.
Diamond logos aren't just a gift for Christmas.
No. They aren't. The scene of Ncuti Gatwa in the teaser trailer for the specials as seen at the end of The Power of the Doctor contained a different background that you will never see again because it covered up basically a very spoilerific background in the actual original shot, which is interesting, I think. So that's kind of cool. And they're busy shooting. There's also a big thing about Scott Hancock, who does a monthly article as well, just sort of running down all the stuff they're doing, getting scripts in hand, and getting stuff ready, and directors and people cast and everything. They're making proper Doctor Who over there in Badwell Studios. It's kind of exciting, happening there now.
One of the tantalizing bits from his contribution. Russell confirms a name for some anonymous monsters in Block 1. We can't help referencing 2 old 4th and 7th Doctor adversaries, but to say any more might give them away.
What would it be?
Draconians are back. I'm just wish casting.
Well,
4th and 7th Doctor adversaries, Warren, hey?
Yeah.
Sure, Draconians. They were in the
Draconians.
background somewhere. You didn't see them. They were there.
I mean, that's like nerd bait to the nth degree, right there.
That is so nerd bait, because now we're just like, oh, who could it be? Like, would it be someone?
It's the cabbage.
Is it the cabbage? Is it someone who's never? Is it? Yeah, were they seen in the fourth Doctor era and seen again? Were they Zygons? Is that again? Is that, I mean,
Well, given what we know of a scene, a shot from a comic book that has been made real, that was originally a fourth Doctor thing. So maybe he's referring to comic book stuff.
Could be. That's a very good point. See, tantalizing. Keeping Doctor Who in the public eye, because it's not going to be on TV for another year or so. So. All good stuff. Also, they run down the second part of the people working on the show. They did the first part last issue rather, and Will Cohen has returned to be the VFX producer of Doctor Who. He, of course, was in Milk and the Mill in the early days, and left, I think, when Stephen Moffat left. And so he's back. What's interesting is he says that he's the VFX producer for Bad Wolf, with responsibility for recruiting Doctor Who's new VFX production team and sourcing VFX vendors. So up until now, they've basically had, you are the VFX house, you're doing all our VFX. Now, like, it's kind of like when you look at a Marvel movie or something, and you see like 28 different effects houses doing effects for the movie. This might be kind of where Doctor Who is sort of going, and that they won't rely on one company to do everything and perhaps overwork them. They'll actually go out and get, like, here, can you do this shot for us? Can you do this scene for us? Can you do this episode for us? That sort of thing.
I mean, TV and movies have been like that for more than a decade at least. So yeah.
Yeah, but not really Doctor Who. Doctor Who sort of kept it, under one house, like Dean Egg or the Mill or Milk or something like that.
It didn't need to, really. I mean, because it was, much as we love it, it was a little show that could. Now it's going to be probably the big show that is. So
yeah, new era. So
I do like Will Cohen's answer to the question of who is your favorite classic Doctor Who companion.
And what is that?
His answer being Leela, who produced feelings in me that I didn't quite understand until a bit later.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
Yeah, we're of a simpler vintage.
Actually, I was 13. I totally understood those feelings.
Oh, not me. Not me. And it was Romana, but whatever. Also, Pam Down. Mary Tam, please.
Mary Tam.
No offense, Lada Lord. I thought she was a traitor. I know. My young mind did not take kindly to Romana too. I think, why is she here? Why is Princess Astra now? This is wrong.
Did you see the Romana 1 to Romana 2 regeneration before or after the Tom Baker to Peter Davison regeneration?
Oh, before. But I didn't understand, because you never saw the scene. It's just all of a sudden there's just a new person as...
walking in and out, wasting regenerations willy-nilly.
Well, I didn't even know what that meant, even, like, regenerate.
According to the FASA RPG, she had selective regeneration or something like that, so she wasn't actually burning
that
through
authoritative tome, the FASA RPG.
That is canonical, I think you'll find. Yeah, Pam Down is the new costume designer. Pam Down is a veteran because she's, like, early career included, like, such diverse films as the, Tichborne... Claimant, catchy title.
That's a great title. I don't care what it's about. I don't want to know what it's about.
With John Gielgud.
Gielgud.
Gielgud, for God's sakes, man.
I've never actually said his name out loud. That's
Caligula's own John Gielgud? Come on.
Arthur's own John Gielgud.
Arthur's
that too, yeah.
And her first memory is watching Revenge of the Cybermen for Doctor Who. So, wow. So, there we go. We got a veteran in the midst again, so which is kind of cool. So, anyway, Doctor Who magazine. So, basically, there are two go-to articles every issue now for us for purposes of news. It's RTD's monthly column, and it's Scott Hancock's monthly column of what he's doing as script editor on Doctor Who. So, exciting times afoot here in the Doctor Who world.
My DWM subscription ends in a few weeks' time, I think.
Yeah, January for me.
I might have to actually renew that bad boy.
Well, it's our news source, baby. Also news. This comes from Tim Davie, the head of BBC itself. Is that what his official Director General? Director General. Which sounds awfully too formal for a media corporation.
Authoritarian.
Yeah, it feels like Director General of a banana republic or something, which some might say the BBC is.
Oh dear.
He said at a speech at some convention or other this past week that the BBC is preparing to go online only within the next decade. Only, no channels at all, no BBC One, nothing. You would turn on the TV and there's nothing. It's all going to be iPlayer. As
I said in our off mic pre-show chat, if I can't watch BBC on my Goblin TV while it's on fire, then I don't want to pay the license fee. None of which applies to me at all, but.
Yeah, I mean, what does that mean? Does the license fee just sort of cover, like, basically you are you're paying for a streaming service at that point? Well, I'm not too sure.
If you buy a television, that's when you pay the fee, right? So you'd still be watching it on your TV, I guess. Like, it'll be it's a smart TV. It's probably built in.
Yeah, exactly. It's iPlayer. It's Red Button or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the last paragraphs in the article says it talks about the days of the license fee being numbered and how the BBC is open-minded about finding a new model for funding. And the government is already considering alternatives for when the current deal expires at the end of 2027. Many other countries have abolished their license fees and replaced them with new funding models for public broadcasters, with options including direct taxation or levies on household broadband connections.
There you are. That's in the UK, of course. These are things that we don't worry about here in this part of the world. But
no, because we just get charged out the wazoo for cable companies.
Cable and internet. Yeah. Welcome to our life now, UK. But it's intriguing. It's intriguing that they just come out and sort of said, you know what, this is where things are going. And they are right. They are 100% right. As we've said a lot on this podcast, I've certainly been beating the drum about how the industry is sort of moving this way. And Doctor Who over the past 2 or 3 years has sort of been behind the times in aiming towards a broadcast first mentality. And
no. Is this in response to or in spite of Tory nonsense of about 6 months ago?
I feel like this is just an inevitability of the industry. I think, sure, the Tories are trying to hasten the end of that. I think the BBC are trying to actually stake out a claim and not just sort of wither into non-existence, but actually become a powerful entity in the streaming age, in the post-TV age, so to speak. So. It's a tough thing to hear in a way, just because it's been this way for like 100 years, and it's weird to sort of see the BBC sort of change it up and sort of, this is the direction it's going. We got to go there, because it would be silly for the BBC to be like the only broadcaster left in the world that just sort of saying, "Yep, we're not releasing our show until it broadcasts on BBC One at 5:15." And that's when you'll see it first. So,
would there be anything more British though than being that pig-headedly determined about something?
That's true. Yeah, I know the Brexiters are probably like, at one time trying to abolish the BBC and yet trying to keep it the same as well. It's a confusing thing, but it's interesting, and it also, going back to Doctor Who and Disney Plus and drop dates and all this stuff, like it signals an intention to drop an episode of Doctor Who instead of waiting for it to air and then perhaps drop it. So we were sort of like, I'm still wondering in a year's time when Disney Plus will drop a new episode of Doctor Who. Will it be whenever they want to drop it, which is usually midnight Pacific time, or would they wait for a broadcast on BBC One to do it and then drop it at the same time or immediately after? I don't know, but
I wonder what the legalities of that are, because that's why they would do it or not do it.
Yeah,
it's legal stuff, nothing else.
Time will tell, but at the end of the day, it's still a BBC show mostly.
It still is, yeah, but they need Disney approval for things now, and they, there's Disney money involved and everything. So it's not. I don't think that Disney is beholden to the BBC what they're going to do. I think that Disney's going to say, guess what, we're going to drop it, and if you want to air it later that day first, well, you go right ahead. But this news sort of, is sort of leaning towards that they're leaning, towards maybe dropping on an iPlayer.
Well, I was going to say, maybe they'll do like Australia does, where it goes on iView first before it hits, before it hit past tense, terrestrial TV.
Yep.
I also think BBC isn't exactly beholden to the Disney either. And actually, I think, much as I may have problems with Tennant coming back or whatever else, or some of RTD's creative choices, there is nobody better for juggling these balls than him. Like, Moffat was great, but I don't think he's quite the empire-building guy that RTD is.
No. I wonder how long this empire has been stewing in the back of his mind. I know there's that famous quote that Paul Kirkley, who was on the show not too long ago, he's the one that asked RTD about it. And he says, we should have the Nissa adventures and this, just sort of going on about there should be a Doctor Who cinematic universe. And this is well before he was announced as coming back to do Doctor Who. I wonder how long these ideas have been churning in the back of his mind, Doctor Who Empire. Interesting times.
With a director general at the helm.
With the director general at the helm, exactly. Let's move on to the Sarah Jane adventure. So as we mentioned last week, it's all on iPlayer. Apart from the one story from Series 5, The Curse of Clyde Langer, those 2 episodes were not on there, and people were going, "What? Why is this not on there?" Apparently, they're holding it back to quote unquote. A BBC spokesperson told Digital Spy, "We are making a couple of minor edits for factual accuracy, and we hope to have it available soon." Factual accuracy. It's been a while since I've seen that episode, so I don't know what would be factually inaccurate.
K9 doesn't really exist.
K9 doesn't exist. Maybe the episode centered around the sun revolving around the Earth or something like that, and they need to chop that out. I don't know, but
it doesn't? Oh, damn it.
I'm sorry.
This sundial is useless.
So sorry to break it to you, but yeah, it doesn't work that way. But so that's intriguing. I haven't checked in the past few days if it's back on there yet. So I don't know if it's changed or not. But I'm just, how long does it take to make things factually accurate in a kid show from 2009? I don't know, but
depends what they have to edit, I suppose.
I guess so.
Because if they're just clipping something, that's not so bad. But if they have to reconstruct, it's still not
do
there.
some Foley work.
Still not there for what it's
ADR.
worth. Mm-hmm. And of course, I don't think any of us have watched it since 2011 when it went out to have any recollection of what might need.
But when it comes out, you better believe I'm going to do a scene-by-scene comparison.
Of course you will. Andor is dull and useless. Now let me do a scene-by-scene comparison of an almost 20-year-old show.
I know. It'll be fun. You know what? Someone on the internet will do it first. I don't.
Yeah, you. That'll be the person on the internet doing it first.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's even more dedicated people than me, Warren, for these sort of things.
I don't know about that.
Do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So the Doctor Who Worlds of Wonder that's in Edinburgh in Scotland that opened up this past weekend. Hey, how about that? There's some pictures you can see. There's like the Cyberman there. There's the TARDIS, and there's the Sea Devil from the Sea Devils episode that wasn't very good, but the Sea Devil was great in it. There was a whole bunch of costumes and stuff, and Cyberman walking around. Basically, it's the Doctor Who experience stuff, which is now, in its new.
Excuse me, this is best cyber controller erasure. The Mohawk cyber controller.
He's there. I
know. I love that guy. He's such a goof. I love him.
Yeah. So if you're in Edinburgh in Scotland, I don't know when this is going on to. The May 1st is going to be closed before I ever dream of going to the UK again in September, hopefully.
It's going somewhere else. Like it's like rotating through various places.
Oh well, that's good.
If memory serves, this is what was in Liverpool. Is now in Edinburgh.
Right,
and then
yeah. Notice how we pronounce Edinburgh, not Edinburgh. Just so you know, there, folks, Americans. That's how you pronounce Scottish places. You pronounce them how the Scottish people pronounce them. Well,
I'm not saying a damn thing because my pronunciation problems are well known.
It's bad news. Yeah, it's bad news. So don't ever say it. Is it Glasgow or Glasgow?
Glasgow.
Is it Moscow or Moscow? I know that's in Russia, but
if you're from Texas, it's Moscow.
Yeah, Moscow. All right. There's a whole host of Big Finish stuff because boy, oh boy, they know how to fill a news list as Big Finish every single week with news releases. But before we get to that, it's time for our weekly adventure through the Timelash, looking back at what happened this week in history in Doctor Who. And we start on December the 11th. That's Sunday. We're recording this on Saturday for what it's worth. Congratulations to English soccer fans, or commiseration to English soccer fans. That game has yet to happen in our world, and it might have happened by the time you listen to this.
It's either coming home or it isn't coming home.
Yeah, Morocco, big shocking win over Portugal just as we press record here. So who knows what's going to happen?
Or indeed cares.
Or, yeah, I suppose. What do you got? I'm zipping ahead to 2007, but is there anything else that
1974?
What happened in 1974, Warren?
Yeah, The Haunting, whatever that was. Did it become something? Terrence Dicks is commissioned to write it, whatever it is.
That became, I believe,
Brendan Morbius.
Was it that, or was it Brandon Morbius? Or was it State of Decay? I think it was State of Decay.
It was. Yeah, so he wrote something that the production team didn't like, so then they contracted him to write Brandon Morbius instead, and then some elements of The Haunting were reused for the Vampire Mutations, which became State of Decay.
State of Decay, there it
okay.
is. Yeah.
So it kicked around for like 7 years in his head before he put it to paper again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 2007, when The Doctor's Daughter was recorded, and the Tennant and David and Georgia
the show
met
got
up.
really good.
David Tennant met his future wife and Georgia Tennant at that day in history. I don't know.
And more importantly, future father-in-law.
Yeah, 2007, the BBC announces that Julie Gardner will leave Doctor Who following the 2009-10 specials to be replaced as executive producer by load-bearing Piers Wenger. I'm amazed that it was 2007. I don't remember that. I remember obviously the handover between RTD and Moffat in 08. I don't remember this though, which is interesting because
I do remember.
Were we doing
early,
the podcast yet in 2007?
Oh yeah, we were 2 years in,
all right.
yeah, or a year in, I guess. Yeah,
I do remember that early interviews with Piers Wenger. He looked like a coked out.
That's right.
Junkie.
It looked a little disheveled in his public
Complete
debut.
aside here, but I have the Duckman box set because I got it for $30, and I like Duckman. But don't ever watch the special features because you see very coked out producers from the 90s. There's soul patches everywhere. It's really depressing to look at. You're like, no, I want to like this show, not look at these dudes.
There was no soul patch on Piers Wenger that day, but
Never trust him out with the soul patch. It's just one of the cardinal rules that has never failed me.
I'm also like, I don't even remember when the announcement was that there was going to be a gap year in 2009. I don't remember that. I don't remember when that was.
I do remember the outcry. The show was doomed
Because there's the National Television Awards, whatever, when Tennant did his resignation speech. Did he announce the specials
that was,
then?
No, it was before that. It was because we were already into the specials because that was in October of 2008. So we already knew there was going to be a gap year coming up. I don't remember the chronology of these things. Maybe we'll get to it one of these days in the Timelash, and we'll be surprised all over again by when this actually happened. But apparently they knew it back in 2007, which is astounding to think about. Like, yeah, we're back for 3 years, and now we're already planning on not being there. You know, it's intriguing, But as RTD said, no more gap years, folks. All Doctor Who all the time from now on. This podcast will be nothing but a new episode review podcast.
Or Doctor Who adjacent, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Doctor Who universe.
Doctor
Who universe.
Might have to get rid of the Timelash at some point.
Yep.
They can call it Luke K9.
You could, but you'd probably want to workshop that a bit.
Nope.
Again, this is why you're not a producer of television, Chris.
Final title.
December 12th, happy birthday, Sarah Sutton, who played Nyssa and will resume her role in the Nyssa Adventures, coming to BBC One and Disney Plus in 2024.
The world has been clamoring for the Nyssa Adventures. Here we are.
Let me tell you, 50% of this household has certainly been clamoring for the Nyssa Adventures. So
I have nothing against the Nyssa Adventures. If they did it, I'll watch it. But I just don't think the world's clamoring for the Nyssa Adventures, or indeed the Adam Adventures. Just
I don't know.
Chris.
I kind of like the idea of like it's starting off on this. You know, she's still on the Lazar ship. Like 40 years later, she's been trying to cure people of Lazar disease on Terminus, and it's just this grim, gritty Doctor Who spin-off.
The Endor of Doctor Who is Nyssa.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, exactly.
Well, they're both 5 letters long, so. Is it
again another reason Chris should be a TV producer?
Is this going to be like
Make it's 5 letters?
Is this a medical drama, or what's the genre here?
It starts out. I think she's tired and weary about it all, and she's sort of like humdrum and just.
Or
looking
is
to
this
get
going
off
to turn
the
into
ship.
like a Hallmark Christmas movie?
I take back what I said, Chris,
Maybe.
because I think a medical drama in the Doctor Who universe would be kind of great, and then you could guest star Martha Jones, who is in fact a doctor.
That's true. Yeah, is New Amsterdam still going on in the States? I don't know. She's on that.
So she left at the end of season 4.
Oh,
and
did she?
then
Oh, I didn't know
She
that.
came back for the mid-season cliffhanger for season 5, episode 10.
Oh wow, man. Network TV, man. It was like 5 seasons. So like, just like wow. Gee, I didn't know that. Also, happy birthday to the late Michael Leeson Smith, born on that day in 1916. Went on to direct I didn't realize he was that old. He's 50 years old, I guess, when he directed The Mythmakers, his one and only Doctor Who story. So, obviously not alive now. What else happened on December 12th to celebrate Sarah Sutton's birthday? Annika Wells was...
Child Prodigy, 1978. Alistair Beaton and Sarah Dunant.
I've never heard of that. Alistair
me
Beaton
neither.
and Sarah Dunant are commissioned to write Child Prodigy.
It's the twin dilemma. It's the early... It's not.
Twin Dilemma was a rejected Douglas Adams era script. It was not. It was not.
It says Beaton was
It should have been rejected.
Beaton was a colleague of Douglas Adams
we
from
go.
his days as a comedy writer. But all it says here is the scripts were rejected as being unacceptable. It was planned for season 17.
Again, Chris, the TV producer. No. This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Shoves it off his desk.
Maybe we got City of Death because of that. Who knows? Maybe all that led up to City of
Maybe
Death.
we got
all these
Nightmare
rejected
Beaton
scripts.
for it. I
maybe,
don't know.
Maybe we did. I love Nightmare
Maybe we
Beaton.
lost Shada because of it. I don't know.
Maybe we did. Let's name anything. I would literally say maybe we did.
It's because
I'm going to
Maybe-
stop for that reason.
it's entirely possible that maybe we did get, you name it, for, yeah.
Margaret Thatcher was elected in 1979 because this Child Prodigy script was rejected a year earlier.
Yep. That's a butterfly flapping its wings situation.
Yeah. Let's move on to December 13th on the old Timelash here. What are you laughing at there, Chris?
1968. Terrence Dix receives permission to retroactively receives permission to rewrite the final 4 episodes of the Seeds of Death.
What does that mean?
It means it means A, Brian Hales can't deliver.
Right, okay, fair enough.
And B, he already did the work. So the BBC just did their formal
Write them
sign-off.
now. We'll work out the paperwork later, basically, while you rewrite Seeds of Death, because we need it like now. Because it's being recorded right now at Ealing TV Studios the same day. So yeah, they needed to. That was probably all the opening title shots and stuff, probably. Because there's some other Ealing stuff like the foam machine stuff, but it's probably those title sequences, I think. So yeah. Doctor Who, a bit of a mess in those days.
Especially season 6.
Especially, yeah. You know,
That
recording
was like the lead time was like days.
Yeah,
So.
it became that. It started out great. It started out like the invasion, because they shot 35 episodes, starting with the invasion through to the war games. And it was, they were like a month or 2 months in advance of broadcast. But because Patrick Troughton had complained about not having enough time off in between actual stories, they actually took time off. And so they didn't take them off the current production to shoot location stuff for the next one. So by the end of those 35 episodes, they were literally 6 days out for broadcast. And employing Terrence Dix to be script editor because Peter Bryant was drunk or something, or ill for parts of it, and Derek Sherwin had to sort of take over as producer. Yeah, and then Trevor Ray had to come in as a assistant script editor to get stuff in, and Terrence Dix had to write the Seeds of Death, and then had to bring in Malcolm Hulke to write the War Games after that. And Robert Holmes basically said, "Well, it looks like you got another story here called The Space Pirates. Guess what? It's next up in the queue because we ain't got nothing else." Yeah. Utter madness.
So we need a Scandalous Adventures in Space and Time series based around all these shenanigans.
Yes, that should be
basically
part
Mad
of
Men, but Doctor Who.
Mad
Okay,
Men.
so that's part of the DWMCU.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is. This is one of this. It's some of them are factual. Some of them are
Doctor Who
trials.
magazine cinematic universe.
And yes, you're right. It does need to be Mad Men style.
It does
Oh,
need
absolutely.
to be Mad because it takes place in the era. It's late 60s. at the BBC canteen. It's
And
shot in the BBC canteen.
And it can end with the famous Coke commercial somehow.
Famous Coke commercial that hadn't showed up. And you know what? That Coke commercial ending is the only thing I've seen of Mad Men.
I never finished. I watched up to the last season. I never watched the last season, so I wasn't even aware the Coke commercial was a thing until now.
I never watched a single second of that show until it looks like the end of Mad Men's on, and I literally flipped over and it was the Coke commercial. That was it. That was all I ever saw.
The story of Peak TV. It was good, but I got bored. That's my story with Peak TV.
Yeah. It's no Andor. Tell you that much. Mad Men, no Andor.
And then 2020, death of Philip Martin, writer of Gangsters.
Oh, that was sad. I liked him a lot. I talked to him. He was on our live show that year, 2020, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, wow.
Was it 2020? No.
Or was it 2019?
No, it wasn't 2020.
It was 2019. He was at Galley, and then I talked to him later purely about Star Cops and Gangsters, and it was great.
It was great.
It was great to talk about.
Forcing the audience to listen to our nonsense.
Yeah, that's what we do. Be it Star Lost, be it Gangsters, be it Star Cops, we are here to raise up some shows that perhaps
to shove obscurity down your throat.
Yeah. Let's press on before we have another 2-hour podcast. December 14th, birth of David Maloney, 1933. David Maloney, hell of a director. Directed several episodes of Talk, including The Crotons, and ended with The Talons of Wing Chiang, and then he went on to become producer of Blake Seven. But superb Doctor Who director. Superb. What else? Anything else jump at you for December 14th?
Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
Really?
Greatest Show in the Galaxy, episode 1 of Warren's favorites.
Yeah, I hate it, as you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened.
Terrible.
Recording stuff. David Whittaker is commissioned to write The Wheel in Space in 1967. And eventually most of it gets rewritten. It's kind of sad, actually. I'm looking forward to, don't spoil it, people in the UK who are happily watching your Series 2 box set right now, which isn't even available to order here in Canada yet.
Typical. Absolutely typical.
Because there's a great documentary apparently called Looking for Whittaker. Looking for David. I don't even know the title of it. It's all about David Whittaker and Doctor Who and stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to watch that a lot because he was the first story editor of Doctor Who and was responsible for so much, and then sort of came back and didn't quite understand the format. And so The Enemy of the World was one of his, and The Wheel in Space was taken and sort of reworked, and then he came back to do The Ambassadors to Death, and it was no, this isn't working at all, and we got to completely rewrite it. So it kind of a bit tragic in the end of how his on-screen thing faded out. And so I want to know more about him.
Like John Lucarotti coming back after a big gap as well.
Yeah, just not, the show had moved on. Okay, so what did we do here? Are we still in black and white? It says, no, we're not in black and white.
I just had a horrible and fan-baiting idea, which is, what if that's RTD? What if he comes back and doesn't understand? Of course he doesn't. Of course he knows what the hell he's doing.
But what if? We're in HD now? What? Since when?
And I'm basing it entirely on Doctor Who fans basing everything on the past. Well, he did this one way, so nothing can change.
Yeah, why are they looking at that thing in there? I told them to look at a telephone. Thinking, well, that's what telephones look like now, Russell. What are you talking about? What do you mean? It doesn't flip or anything. I don't understand. That would be ridiculous, though. Let's move on to December 15th, 1970.
Yay!
Warren Fry, a middling Doctor Who podcaster, is born.
Middling? Wow, that's a bit harsh, but okay.
Yeah, I know.
Born 30 years after Pennant Roberts, director of Timelash.
Warren, you share a birthday with the late Pennant Roberts and Sarah Hellings. She directed The Mark of the Ronnie. So well done. Well done for being born on that exact day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 1970, right? I got the.
It was 1970, right? Yes.
Okay. Well, nothing happened on your actual birthday. But when you
Don Johnson, born on my birthday as well.
No, I'm not. He's older than you are.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only other famous person I could think of.
That's true. Well, let's see what things happened for your birthday. Tom Baker was contracted for season 15 on your birthday in 1976, Warren. That was his birthday present to you. I'm going to be Doctor Who for you for at least one more year.
6 years old, I guess.
You'd have been
and I
6
was
years old.
completely underwhelmed because I had no idea what Doctor Who was.
Yep. But you would have known at that point. There's all sorts of Tom Baker stuff. Invasion of Time was being recorded. The Talons of Wang Chiang was being recorded on your birthday in different years. Tom Baker has tendered a contract for season 17, but he refuses to sign it and renews his threat to resign from Doctor Who. This is after Key to Time, of course. But eventually they back down but so 1 year Tom Baker is becoming Doctor Who for you, Warren, and only you on your birthday. And then
exactly
2 years later, he's going, I'm never doing Doctor Who again because of that stupid young boy in Edmonton who's probably already bald. I don't know when you will lock your hair, Warren.
Wow. Wow, this is what a birthday gift I've been
Happy birthday, Warren. This is your day. This is your special day.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna remember when your birthday is and come up with some serious invective. I'm gonna do not to bring in a name of a disgraced
February
awful
3rd.
Person comedian. But remember the Bill Cosby sketch where he puts the snowball in the freezer and then waits? That's what I'm gonna do to you, metaphorically speaking, with insults.
Right.
Tom Baker giveth, Tom Baker taketh away.
He does. That's what he does. But he rewarded you with the debut broadcast of Nightmare of Eden, episode 4 in 1979. So it all happy ending in the end, Warren.
Arc of Infinity, 1981, another birthday gift.
Submitting it to Johnny Burns, starting a storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
The Caves of Androzani being recorded on your 13th birthday. Oh, that is prime stuff. 13-year-old Warren Vai had no idea what was about to await him. Being made on his
couple years hence, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Exciting stuff. Well, happy birthday, Warren.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, despite all my slagging. Let's move on to December 16th. When are we doing this till, Chris? 17th? That's our last day of this?
Yep.
Nicholas Courtney, the Brigadier himself, born December 16th, 16th, 1929. Also known for Brett Vion, if you're going to be a stickler for those sort of things.
And if anything is the Timelash, Will, with its season 35 and what have you.
That's true. Yeah,
1964, Stephen. Terry Nation commissioned to write The Chase.
Oh, boy.
One day my army will celebrate this, he said.
Yeah, to replace an untitled Dalek storyline, which is a shame, because I'd rather have... I don't even know what that untitled Dalek storyline is. I would have rather seen it than The Chase. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, happy birthday, Ashley Way. He directed a couple episodes of Doctor Who and some mostly Sarah Jane Adventures, as I recall. I don't remember which episodes of Doctor Who he did, though, but something in Series 3, I want to say.
Hungry Earth, Cold Blood.
There we are. Series 5. I was wrong.
He also directed...
Which I looked forward to more than I liked.
He also directed The Curse of Clyde Langer.
Interesting. Maybe he's being consulted right now for these factual inaccuracies or something.
It's possible.
Yeah, quite possible.
Yeah, he did Torchwood, he did Sarah Jane, and Doctor Who. He got the trifecta.
That's the Doctor Who EGOT right there, yeah. You got to win them all. I wonder if there's going to be a director who will work on the plethora of new series shows as well, but probably not. Probably not.
And also to draw from earlier stuff in the news list, 1976, Louise Jameson contracted for season 15.
Well, look at that. A day after Tom Baker was, so... Well, how about that? Neat. December 16th, the day after Warren's birthday. Other stuff also happened. There we are. Breaking news.
As time works, yes.
Yeah. December 17th, our last day of the Timelash this week. She's no longer with us, sadly. Died in 1993. But Jacqueline Hill, born one day after Nicholas Courtney. How interesting. 2 Doctor Who icons born within a day of each other. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. What else we got here? Anything else jump out at you for December 17th that you want to mention? Want to talk about?
1971. Recording for The Curse of Peladon takes place at BBC Television Film Studios in Ealing and the BBC Television Centre Puppet Theatre in White City.
I love that they have... I mean, I think it was for the exterior shots of the TARDIS on the cliff in Peladon, I want to think is what the puppet theater was. I could be wrong about that. I just love that they have a puppet theater. I think of, I told them once, I told them 100 times, Spinal Tap first, Puppet Show last, and Spinal Tap gets a gig at the BBC TV Centre Puppet Theatre. Are there pictures of the Puppet Theatre out there? I want to see pictures of the Puppet Theatre.
I'm sure if you Google it, you're going to get some stuff.
Oh, that's what I'm going to be doing after this recording. I'll tell you that much right now.
And then 1994, Robert De Laurentiis submits a script for Doctor Who?
Question mark. So this is the TV movie saga. Yeah. Is this the same De Laurentiis as the Dino De Laurentiis? Is that who this cat is? I mean, I
imagine there's some relation to Dino De Laurentiis.
Yeah.
So he replaced John Leakley as a scriptwriter,
right?
Because they went through a couple of people, shall we say?
A wee bit, yeah.
In my headcanon that I've just created right now, it's that he is related to De Laurentiis. This is no basis in fact, and it's like, let's give this kid who I don't like a crack at this thing that'll never get made. Here you go, you're a Hollywood writer now, kid. Oh, not anymore.
Well, I will tell you this much right now. Bob De Laurentiis, who wrote a proposal for that Doctor Who TV movie, now has written for such things as the Umbrella Academy and Fargo, the TV series, and the OC. So he's turned this into a little bit of a career. St. Elsewhere he wrote something for before Doctor Who, of course. So he's written stuff. The Umbrella. Erica's just been watching the Umbrella Academy again, leading up to Series 3, and so that's why it's top of mind right now. So look at that. Somebody who nearly wrote for Doctor Who is now writing for the Umbrella Academy.
There you go. That's TV, baby.
That is, as you say, TV. Baby. Mm-hmm. All right, that's enough. That's enough Timelash for 1 week. We'll get our Retronaut on next week for more nonsense. Not on anybody's birthday on this podcast, though. Although, Chris, you're gonna get yours coming, though. Let me tell you, on January 24th. In a month and a half, yeah. Let's rattle through some Big Finish stuff before we get to the commentary for Earthshock Part 4. The Big Finish Short Trips winner has been announced. Of course, Big Finish Short Trips, there's a competition for basically a fan writer to submit their story, and it gets produced as a audio novelization, so to speak. And this year's winner is Nick Slowich.
Congratulations.
Slowich, for the World Tree story there. So that's good for him. Well done. That'll be coming out as a short trip at some point in December. Oh, is it coming in December? It's coming now. It's coming December. This is December right now.
End of the month, I think.
End of the month, yeah.
I'll say 29th or something, but I have to skim back down. December 29th is a free download. Nice. Perfect.
There's also Volume 12 of Doctor Who Short Trips coming in February of 2023. Folks, there's a lot of Big Finish stuff. I might get stuff mixed up. Bear with me on this one. But 5 different Doctor Who Short Trips coming out in one single release. That is in February of 2023. What else we got here? We got the Doctor Who, the Doctor Chronicles, the 11th Doctor. This is the last one with Jacob Dubman as the 11th Doctor.
Me and Matt Smith's coming back? No.
Well, I don't know. Does it?
It'd be nice, but no.
No. Recording from a tent on the House of the Dragon set.
Yeah. Why not? You can do it. Anyway, that's coming out also February 23rd. I bet you'll probably find these things at Gallifrey 1. Just guessing that they might be at a booth.
Are they still doing CDs? I thought they were stopping with that.
No, still doing both.
Downloads
come out and then CDs come out after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. They prioritize the download, but for those that want to collect the physical media, then that's what they do. There's also a Torchwood, the Last Love Song of Susie Costello is also coming out February 2023. The Thirst Trap is due.
There's never been a better name for a Torchwood.
March is coming out in March. With Adira Varva also, by the way, returning as Susie Costello. God, she's everywhere. She's absolutely everywhere. Every time I see her a prestige British drama production, there's Indira Varma. She's in the Kenobi show, for crying out loud. She's everywhere, and she still finds time to do Torchwood stuff. So,
but she's not in Andor.
No, because
Let's stop harping on this damn show.
silly Andor show. And also, launch date is coming out in April of 23. That's another Torchwood thing as well. Here's a couple. So, Telus Publishing has a couple things coming out in this next year, which I'm very much looking forward to. I want to point out this one is the Doctor Who production diary, the William Hartnell years. This is from Doctor Who historian David Brunt, who's written some. Done a lot of. He's actually contributed some Blu-ray stuff and like production notes as well. Very smart cat. I am looking forward to this book. There's also going to be a Troughton one following on in the same year, and then after that, we'll go through all the Doctor Who years. So that is catnip to me. Production diaries. So I'm looking forward to that.
Coming up on my catnip right now.
Yeah, your catnip. This is a collection of unreal things from Andrew Mark Thompson is coming out
Pre-ordered
in the summer
immediately.
Of next year. Yeah, September 2nd. Yeah. So for those that you don't know, Andrew Mark Thompson, Andy Drews on Twitter, creates these wonderful and wonderfully silly fake Doctor Who things, which make me laugh nonstop.
We met him at Derby. Lovely fellow. Very, very modest and shy. Doesn't realize, or maybe he does, but he doesn't want to admit to how good he is at this stuff. He's just excellent at these crazy Photoshops. Kill Me on a Monday will never cease to make me laugh. The pulp unit book with the Brigadier looking all actiony. Kill Me on a Monday. Oh my God, it's glorious.
It makes me laugh. So all that and more, finally in a published book. It's about time. It is about damn time that this stuff is being found in a book. So it's coming from Telus Publishing. Links in the show notes. Pre-order it.
Kudos to the BBC for going, yeah, sure, what the hell, why not?
Good on them, right? I mean, for all the, the copyright hounding that other franchises sort of have to put up with, the BBC says, yeah, go nuts.
I mean, they understand this is done completely out of love.
Yeah, 100% is. So very much looking forward to that. Also, I guess I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it's a program about death, about all the people we lost in the science fiction and genre community, some of which is Doctor Who related, including just today as we record, the Shirley Coward, the Vision Mixer, who worked on tons of BBC programs, tons of Doctor Who from the earliest days through to the McCoy era. She did the very first regeneration sequence between from Hartnell to Troughton in the 10th Planet. She passed away. Toby Hadoke announced this on Twitter and Facebook. Toby Hadoke is doing a annual radio program, Absent Friends, which is coming out on Christmas Day. Basically, a look back at all those who we lost in the science fiction and fantasy community.
Part 2 is New Year's Day.
Oh, there's a 2-part because too many people died to be crammed into one special. So, but it's nice. He does a good job at those. Obviously, it's just Toby Hadoke. So.
Yeah, and then he always does his YouTube end of year.
That's right.
Kind of tribute thing, which I haven't seen him say if he's going to do it this year, but I'm hoping he does.
I think he probably does.
Because he always does such a good job of that. And one of the best things about this effort that he puts forth for these things is he always goes the extra mile to include, like, he doesn't just have just the big names.
No,
he'll plumb the depths of Doctor Who, and like somebody who was in like 6 seconds in Ambassadors of Death, like they'll get a mention if they've just passed, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and he'll also go back and like, oh, I missed this one 4 years ago, so here's a mention of whomever.
Yeah,
he's your spiritual brother in this regard, Stephen.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Everyone gets their time, as they should. Who worked on Doctor Who, behind and in front of the cameras too. So. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty great. So, yeah, listen to that on Christmas Day. Tell you what, hey, speaking of Christmas Day, which is a Sunday this year, so we were thinking of what we could do for that. Finally, and believe me, this has been in the works for 3 years now, folks. But we're finally going to convene a bit of a Radio Free Skaro Christmas party. So we won't be putting out an episode on Christmas Day this year. It'll come out probably December 27th. Where we will record in person at home. Believe me, COVID first messed this up, and then another COVID messed this up. I think last year at some point.
And another still could. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I doubt it.
So this is why I'm mentioning this now, in case it all goes to crap. But yeah, so in a couple weeks hence, we'll be a couple days later, but it'll be worth it, folks. So yeah, that'll be fun. Looking forward to that official Radio Free Skaro Doctor Who Christmas party. So. Right. On that note, hey, let's talk about some Doctor Who while watching it. After the break, it is our classic series commentary for Earthshock Part 4.
Are the microphones wired in?
All run the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back to the legitimately thrilling conclusion of Earthshock Part 4 in our Doctor Who Classic Series commentary here on Radio Free Skaro. We assume you have got your legally purchased Blu-rays and DVDs ready to go for this thrilling installment. I keep saying that as if it's not, but it is. It's excellent. Doctor Who Earthshock is one of my top 10 favorite Doctor Who stories of all time. And I haven't done an actual census of that in many years, but it was there the last time I checked, so it's still going to be there now. And if there's any great Doctor Who stories that have come along since then, too bad. You can't have the spot. It's Earthshock's.
Take that, you upstarts.
Until it gets wiped. All right.
But at least you're not stuck in your ways.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, sir.
Very, very open to change. Very open to change. Just as long as it's not better than something made in 1982.
Just as long as it's not changed at all.
Yep, exactly. All right, folks. Here we go. Earthshock Part 4 in 3, 2, 1, play.
All right, I'm sure the audience had been waiting a whole week for this. What I was going to say last week, but I didn't want to drag things out, was you talked about how they made art and then it made blockbusters. It's a lot more complicated than that. What happened was they kept making mild blockbusters. The Sound of Music made a ton of money. Like that stuff stopped making money. So they threw anything they could at a wall to see what sticked. And what stuck was an excellent film that to this day people point at as an example of craft and accomplishment, Jaws, right? And then Star Wars, again, Star Wars has spawned almost 50 years worth of mythology from kind of a ramshackle, silly kids film. So, I mean, yeah, we can complain all we want about how that ruined Hollywood, but Hollywood was always going to ruin itself anyway.
That's true.
If they could have kept making Paint Your Wagon until the end of time, that's exactly what they would have done. They would have, because it makes some money. It's like when people talk about, Will Smith, he's totally canceled. I'm like, no, he's not. Give it 6 months and that guy's going to be in a big movie because he's worth too much money to not make movies with. It's just, that's all Hollywood cares about. Just because it's art doesn't mean it's not primarily a business.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not defending them. Like, I understand completely as somebody who tries to be creative how stupid that is, but that's what it is. Like,
yeah, it felt like my favorite period in movie history is the New Hollywood era from 1967 to 79-ish, I guess you would say. But honestly, that is the anomaly, because those are the only time when basically the studios had sort of started to wind down and says, well, we'll just give it to the films to these young film students. They seem to know what they're doing and what people might like, and they had control of it for 7 or 8 years, and then they said, wait a second, look how many people are coming out to this movie. Let's make these type of movies again, and so it just sort of swung back.
On the business side, it's also demographics because the boomers want to see different stuff. But
true, yeah.
But besides that, this is also the last gasp, as in they were dying, of the guys who kind of came up in the first place with the film. So it's being replaced by a bunch of money people, which has never changed. So of course they're going to gravitate to exactly what makes them the most money, right? And art's not even going to be a question. It's not even personal relationships. It's just going to be what makes us a pile of cash, because we owe Gulf and Western owes, I don't know, let's say
Gulf and Western,
some bank, a lot of money, right? So. And that's what it is now. Like, it's just different kinds of money getting flying. Now, it used to be tech money, and now the tech industry is cratering. They're going to have to find their money somewhere else. Russian oil. We're going to see a lot of pro-Russia propaganda in the next few years. Just made that up.
It'll all be controlled by China.
A lot of stuff, in terms of financing, a lot of stuff was. Or the fact that you have any queer content whatsoever, you just put it in to keep everybody happy, and then you take it right back out when it goes to China. And it's obvious. You can see it. I love Marvel movies, but they're as guilty as anybody else of that.
Yeah. Probably leading the charge, to be honest. But we didn't think about those things back in 1982. Nope. Fresh off Anthony Hopkins' and blackface performance of Shakespeare on BBC One. No. Everything was fine in 1982. It was fine. Everything's fine. Shut up. There's racist jokes earlier in the season of Doctor Who, for crying out loud. That's how...
Right.
Yeah, Fort of Doomsday is full of them. But then we have Cybermen, which are great. So let's just watch this silver metal men and be plastic. They're plastic, but and be happy. And yes, those guns are awesome, with handy little shoulder straps, which I find very cool for some reason.
Well, their arms get tired.
Right? I know. I mean, they're cybernetic, but their arms do get tired.
We need one with the Louis Vuitton logo.
I want Nissa to be the Bennett to go, well, this place is crawling with robots. Actually, I'm going to cut you off right there. They're not robots. They're cybernetic humans. What's that screaming on your end? What's happening? Oh, you're being killed.
You've been pedanted to death.
Yeah, remember, you have not been killed by robots. You've been killed by cybernetic beings.
Did we talk over the well-cooked meal line?
No, we haven't had that yet. Honestly, as someone of my height, I'm 6'4", as good height for Cyberman. If I was to travel back in time to be in Doctor Who, I would 100% settle with being a Cyberman extra in Earthshock.
I could just see you beside yourself with glee at not having traveled back in time, but being on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "No, we can't use this guy. Look at him. He can't control himself."
Yeah.
And then you're stuck in 1982.
That's
so
true.
Good luck with that.
And you got to hope you get more than 1 gig every 7 years.
No, I don't mind. I've been to
Margaret
one.
Thatcher is prime minister. You're kind of screwed.
Yeah,
buddy.
I know. Getting sent off to fight in the Falklands soon. I mean, it's
You're going to be put on the dole queue, my friend. The dole queue.
I just want to wear the boots. Just want to wear the moon boots. Is that too much?
You could do all this right now.
I could.
You don't have to be in Doctor Who to do any of that.
Why don't they sell 1980s Doctor Who Cyberman costumes? Is what I want to know.
Well, I consider that a challenge.
Yeah.
Off to eBay again.
So there's a continuity reference.
Disintegrated?
See the woman who just backed in there on the left there? She just died heading into the TARDIS. They killed the wrong crew member when they went to the next day shooting on the TARDIS set. Oops. Uh-oh. Poor Professor Kyle really has had nothing to do in this entire story, let's face it. She basically she calls 911 in the first part of the story, and now she's dead.
I like how she goes to shoot at the Cybermen, and she's a scientist. I don't necessarily expect her to have great aim.
Yeah.
And mustache guy is right there beside probably in her line of fire.
Yeah, well, I don't think she hit anything to be perfectly fair.
Well, you'll be shocked to discover a Cyberman costume other than a really terrible Halloween one is not on eBay.
What a shame. I mean, cyber costume makers of Gallifrey 1, I will happily model one of your Cyberman costumes if you make it for me. I'm 6'4". Put this height, about David Banks' height, make it for David Banks, and I will fit in it. That's I will wear it at some point. There it is. Small, beautiful fence. A well-prepared meal. None of this. I think that was actually Eric Sayward's overt opposition to microwave ovens, which were very much popular at the time.
Oh, yes. I remember people ranting about how they're going to give you cancer, which, of course, was nonsense.
No, yeah.
Well, as an experiment, I went on eBay and I just put price over 1,000 Cyberman, and you can get an original prop Mondasian Cyberman voice synthesizer from World Enough in Time for $1,600 Canadian. You can get a Colony light ship from Ascension of the Cybermen for $1,600, same price.
Okay. All right.
And then there's just a bunch of ridiculous cards and stuff.
Well, I got to say, I'm disappointed. Probably.
Lego Dimensions Xbox One video game and huge lot of story level team and fun packs, $1,000.
Wow. Look at us just Googling stuff, looking for places to throw our money away. What?
I'm not putting my money anywhere near any of this.
No. I do like that the both the boots and indeed the gloves are essentially, you could buy those at Eaton's, I think, in Canada at the time, that just spray paint silver. Yeah. Eaton's or Consumers Distributing or the
That
Bay.
might be a Zeller's move.
Zellers, those are Zellers gloves. Those are Zellers gloves, that's right.
Or Sears. Sears still existed here.
Remember Zellers, everyone, in Canada? Remember those days? Those are the best days. Those are the best days when we had Zellers.
No, the good thing about Zellers, at least the one in Edmonton, is it had movators. It had not escalators, but movators that went up and down.
What are movators?
Yeah.
What are those?
They're just
They're moving
flat,
sidewalks.
A belt, basically. Yeah, like if you're in an airport, like that. Except these were like elevated.
I remember those. Yeah, I grew up in Camrose, which is outside of Edmonton, so I never went to Benny Zeller. We had Zellers there. We didn't have multiple floors. That's for damn sure.
I think this was in Heritage Mall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Airlock. Look at that.
Again.
I love that font.
Look at that. Look at that bad font. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's futuristic. It's what they use in 25, 26.
But it's the 80s because it's red.
Yep.
Well, that's the same font they use in Invisible Enemy, isn't it? Or no?
In where? Sorry?
Invisible Enemy? Or am I...
No,
remembering.
because that's, yeah.
Similar, yeah. Standard computer font. I love it.
Yeah.
God, I love those fonts.
But it's all Esperanto there, isn't it?
No,
Dwarf. That's Red Dwarf.
Yeah, but didn't they have a bunch of weirdly pronounced stuff?
Weirdly
Like,
spelled.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Phonetically spelled
Spelling
stuff.
based on pronunciation, not actual
Yes,
spelling.
exactly.
Yeah.
The 80s were pretty great, apart from all the stuff that is utter crap, which is most of
which
it.
is most of it, yes.
Yeah, but
I
here
have
we
millennial
got the
friends
good
who
stuff.
asked me what I thought of the 80s because they literally weren't around for it. They were born in 1990, and I told them, it wasn't that great. There's some
No,
great
it's-
movies. That's about it.
Music
Were they,
is
really
Doctor
that,
Who.
good.
were they really that great? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a golden age of sci-fi.
oh my God, 1982 itself.
82 alone, but 86, 89. There are so many good movie years. 87.
That's true.
There's phenomenal movies.
I remember there was a tweet going around a while ago, but like 1982 wasn't taking any prisoners, and it was like the cover of this magazine was like, "Here's E.T., The Thing."
Yeah, Starlog probably.
There might have been Starlog. Alien had just come out. Doctor Who, Earthshock, obviously.
Not covered by the magazine.
No. Indiana Jones. Well, Indiana Jones is more fantasy, but
No,
golly.
but just that stuff. Like, and much as I'm going, maybe I'm defending blockbusters because the best blockbusters are the 80s blockbusters. And to a certain extent, 90s ones, but mostly 80s ones.
It's 80s, let's face it.
And is that childhood nostalgia talking? You bet your ass it is. But it's also that they were really well put together, and there were creative limits to what you could do. So they kept pushing what they could do, and they could only do so much. And the early days of CG was, part of it was janky, and part of it was just, there's only so much we can do. So we've got Jurassic Park being the perfect example of that. We can only get this much done, so we're going to do the best we possibly can. And that's why that movie still looks great to this day.
Yeah. The asteroid sequence in Empire Strikes Back remains the most impressive piece of filmmaking I've ever seen, when you realize that there isn't a single bit of computer technology in there. It's all just maybe controlled cameras and stuff, but it's just like layer upon layer of film of different asteroids, shooting one asteroid, optical printer moving it into one, shooting another one, and it's stunning. That scene and the music and everything else, golly gee, I don't think it's ever been topped.
The best
Nothing's
example,
better.
You used it before, is if you compared Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. Lord of the Rings, they didn't have as much they could do, and they did it in a bunch of different ways. And then you get to the Hobbit, and they could do whatever they want, and they did, and it's a lesser film for it, frankly.
Yeah, the technology to create Gollum changed so much from the making of Lord of the Rings to the Two Towers, like Fellowship to Two Towers, basically. And that he's in there very briefly in in the first film, because they haven't quite finalized what they're going to do with him yet.
Yeah.
Because meanwhile, we have
the limitations are what make it good.
Yeah, like Doctor Who Earthshock and our multicam. Listen, the amount of pace and energy that is going into this story with the real. I think there are 315 scenes total across 4 episodes, and that is ridiculous. Like,
It's
just
pretty relentless, which is great.
like, it is so relentless. And I made this comparison earlier this year, we'll say, on Radio Free Skaro, where I've been watching Duchess of Duke Street, and let's face it, there's 15 scenes in a whole 45-minute, 50-minute episode, and there's like that in 2 minutes in this, and they're still made on the same budgetary restraints in the same studio with the same TV crews. So much more was done with a tiny budget for Doctor Who than was for any other show on TV at the time. So yeah, we look back and go, wow, we laugh a little bit about the video effects and stuff. That is top of the line stuff, and they're having to create new technology just to make these things back in 1982. That they ever got them done at all I look back and go, how did not to equate them exactly, obviously. A, how did we get to the moon using the technology we had in 1969? And B, how did we make Doctor Who like this? How did we do this? We couldn't do it today. We couldn't do it.
You do equate those two things.
I do.
So don't lie.
Just as important. 1 and 1A. Moon landing, Earthshock. Equally important.
My whole thing is I've always been baffled as like, wait, we got so much more now, and yet we don't do these things. Like, we don't go to the moon, despite whatever Elon Musk is trying to sell you. We don't do any of these things. And I've got a supercomputer in my pocket. Like, what the hell are we thinking here?
Mm-hmm. We realized that the moon landings is really just the friends we made along the way. And so we stopped.
Yeah, there you go. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
I felt personally violated because these guys were in the TARDIS. Like, you don't let the Cybermen in the TARDIS.
I know. It feels that way, doesn't it? Like there are Cybermen in the TARDIS. It does feel like a violation, despite literally every single person who appears in season 19 sometime goes to the TARDIS.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
See, in a
week.
What
are they searching for? Like, search it.
We came across dead Rory.
And
a bearded Rory.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 scrap merchants, one of whom claims to be an android. And a ridiculous man in a bow tie.
We totally talked over Adric and the Doctor's final handshake, didn't we?
Yeah, that seems proper.
It's done. They're over with. It's so sudden. That's what, if this was like a modern show, if they did it, there'd still be like a way to zoom them in. There'd be a Zoom call. Adric, say your goodbyes. Yeah. Have your speeches ready with all the companions. But no, it's...
And again, less effective.
Yeah. All credit to John Nathan Turner, whose first 2, maybe 3 years on Doctor Who were a legitimate achievement before he started to lose his way by going to conventions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I thought season 18 was great. And like him actually shutting down, like, realizing that he had to sort of like, he was starting to appease the fans a little bit, but telling them, because they would often just go to watch the gallery, because you could do that back in the day. Hey, BBC, Public Entity, go watch them shoot Doctor Who from the viewers gallery.
Man,
Closed it off. Refused the Radio Times cover with a Cyberman on it because he wanted to keep the surprise of both the Cyberman and Adric's death. Yeah.
The thing he's screwing around with looks kind of good, but the thing right behind him looks like 2 pieces of wood slapped on top of each other, because they certainly are.
I like when actors push their guns towards people as they shoot them.
We're going to get an angry letter about how that's not how you actually fire a gun.
That's
no,
true.
Really? This laser tube isn't actually being used properly?
Pew, pew, pew.
As I argue with nobody. Follow them.
It's me.
I like how Waterhouse just peels past the screen. That's great.
Waterhouse.
Well, I didn't want to screw up his name. And now he's back. All right.
No, I like it. I call Jar Jar Binks all the time instead of Jar Jar.
Hey, Binks, get over here.
Binks. I like the reluctance. Fine. That is a weird looking thing that's attached there. Is that a modem? Is that an early modem? I don't know anything about computer technology.
Yes, it's a Hayes microcomputer modem.
Oh, could be.
No, it's not acoustic coupled.
Yeah, I was going to say my modem history might be a little rough, but I would expect acoustic coupling back then.
About now, yeah. Non-acoustic couple would be a lot more expensive. That's the ones where you plug the phone right into it, the handle. Which leaves most listeners none the clearer. Sorry, people.
Oh, well. There's a Cyberman that's going to kill Adric. We don't even know that yet. It's just, it's a Cyberman.
Is it a Cyberman or is it a hero?
Wow.
Whoa. Dark. I liked Adric. I was mortified
Okay, but
when he
tell me
died.
you didn't laugh at the thing. I'm pretty sure Chris sent us this
Oh,
years
I sure
ago
did.
with the laugh
I sure
track,
did.
because I did.
Sure did. I 100% did. Very cruel. Escape pod.
And that Cyberman's going, I waited for you. I waited for you. Oh, this is getting real bad.
Wow.
You could call it the genesis of the Cyberman.
Yeah. Oh. This episode is hummed along. I can't believe we're near the end.
Oh, yeah.
Like, loads of...
Watching The Hand of Fear, exactly the same length, probably, or close anyway. Does not hum along, let's put it that way.
No, it really doesn't. You know, and I know that the people, I mean, friends of ours just sort of say, oh, no, it's the, this isn't Doctors Do Violence and all that. But yeah, honestly, Doctor Who would be anything. It's Doctor Who's first real crack at doing an action-adventure story, you know? And the tragic, I mean, going back to our conversation about Jaws sort of changing the industry, honestly, Earthshock changes Doctor Who. They keep trying to remake it with like Warriors of the Deep and Resurrection of the Daleks.
That's true.
You know, they sort of focus on the brutal violence and death of it all.
Those are both saber joints, though, right?
They are both saber joints.
So that's why they're remaking it, because it's a little bit of phoning it in too, I suppose. Although I love Resurrection of the Daleks, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but neither are as good as Earthshock.
I can't argue with you.
That's an old
I remember
typewriter.
thinking at the time, he's still got a gun, Doctor. I wouldn't taunt him too much.
Yeah. Coming to kill you, Adric.
What do you mean 404 not found? Ah, damn it.
Ooh. It's good that they have that, because otherwise we'd never know if he was dead. And then they would just like, well, he's probably dead. At the beginning of Time Flight, we should just continue to move on. Off to the Crystal Palace we go.
I like that there's stuff coming off this dude, or is that just, I think that's just tube artifacts.
It's just tube stuff. Yeah. Although you look at David Banks, see on the left side, our left, his right, his microphone is coming loose. But it's 9:55 p.m. in the studio, so they basically had to cover it up with some paint because they didn't have time to take his helmet off, which was a laborious affair back then, and move it. Oof! I remember reading about this scene after having not seen it and thought, "Wow!" And then when I finally saw it, it was like, "Wow! This is the coolest moment in Doctor Who history."
I remember going, "But isn't the TARDIS in a state of temporal grace? How can something that was said 10 years ago be contradicted 10 years later?" Also, Doctor firing a weapon.
That's true. Never uses guns. Never uses guns, as you know, as you well know. Carry the one. Bet you wish you had a calculator now, don't you?
Yeah, smarty drawers.
Yeah. I think this is like take 4 or something of this, so he knows what's coming. Oh, this is unfortunate. If they should have redone this. They should have like digitally inserted him staying closer to the actual keyboard in the Blu-ray.
Proper dread, though.
Yeah. They shouldn't have told him, honestly. If there's one moment for Peter Grimwade to go all William Friedkin, just don't tell him that it's going to explode.
Nobody should go with William Friedkin. I remember seeing interviews where he talked about what a jerk. I'm like, wow, this guy, I would never want to work with this dude.
He was awful.
I think I'd pop him one in the face and he'd probably pop me right back.
Some bad stuff that happened.
Nissa with that gun is Adric, not Adric, sorry, a Big Finish spinoff waiting to happen.
Oh.
He took his belt off.
He did.
Why did he take his belt off? Are his pants off right now? Is he just standing there pantsless?
Oh, no. Oh, man. I didn't need to know about that in his final moments.
And why is he pantsless?
Yeah.
I'll let the audience figure that one out for themselves.
Yeah. The regulars really play this well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with the laugh track there.
This is pretty well acted, though.
It is well done.
And as we,
Now, this is the
as we-
first, not the first companion to
Snow
die,
theme
but it's the
music.
first of consequence, right?
Yeah, they killed off Katarina, like, basically
Yeah,
when they
but I
cast
mean-
her. And, depends on what you think of Katarina and Sarah
Sarah
Kingdom
Kingdom.
as companions, but this is the first one of consequence, I think.
Or built up to anyway. Like,
Yeah.
And as we've talked about in the past, kudos to the powers that be for having Matthew Waterhouse appear as a ghost type thing in the
Yeah.
next story, so that they can hide the fact he's killed off in this one.
Well, yeah, so the Radio Times doesn't spoil it.
Yeah, because the Radio Times wanted to do a Cyberman cover for this, and JNT was like, nope,
Yep.
keeping it stum.
Mm-hmm. Say no to that. Say no to, nobody would have been cast eyes wondering why Matthew Waterhouse wasn't in Time Flight.
Mm-hmm.
And, they got him. I think he was under contract still. That's probably why he was still there. But,
pretty sweet deal,
possibly.
really.
yeah.
But on the flip side, that's a seasoned producer doing his job very well.
Not even a seasoned producer. Young, inexperienced producer, honestly. But he still was doing a great job.
Or the hallmarks of seasoned producer, I guess.
Yeah. Then he went to his first Doctor Who convention and it all went downhill.
A story we're all familiar with.
As it does for us all. Well, I hope you enjoy that story as much as we did. Earthshock rules. It is a great
argue.
entry into the Doctor Who canon, and it's followed by Time Flight, so it gets even better as the years go on. We already did a commentary for that, though, so we don't have to worry about that. So we won't get it in our next drawing, which is exciting. Chris,
Now, having now done this, it skips from Visitation to Modern Undead, so that's half a dozen stories.
That's amazing. Wow. Starting to fill in the gaps a little bit. Well, Chris, you've got the randomizer open. Let's see what the next classic series commentary is. When you spin the wheel now. There it goes.
There it goes.
There it is. There's a little late there, but forgot that I actually trigger that sound now. Actually, I actually start it in a way, but I don't.
I should set up my HomePod to just play this and lull me to sleep.
It is nice, isn't it? It's
very nice.
Yeah, it's pleasant. Even though, it is bringing the Lord of Death, Sutek himself, to you to kill you.
Is that so bad? This is 2022. Can you blame him?
That's true. There's something slightly peaceful about being destroyed by an intergalactic entity, I suppose. But anyway, on that happy note, Chris, stop.
We so our commentaries, we have mostly classic stuff. We have some stuff from the new series we haven't done, so we're going to be doing Knock Knock.
Knock Knock. Well.
I can deal with that.
How
Season
about
10.
that?
Series,
Season 10. My word. Okay, then. Wow, that's the first time since we've merged the stories together that we've got a new one.
I
Well,
think it is, yeah.
yeah. How about that?
So we'll have a little PCAP action going on.
I was going to say, is this the
Absolutely.
first PCAP commentary ever?
No, we used to do commentaries for PCAP, but it's the
yeah,
first.
of course we did the seasons, right?
Yeah, first time since we've just merged them all together. So there we go. Wow, next classic series. Well, next commentary we do is Knock Knock from Series 10 from 2017.
And we are not going to produce a special binaural version of it either.
We shall not, probably. No. Sorry about that. Anyway, until next time, everyone, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.